So let's start without any delay. Relative energy deficiency in sports or REDS is an increasingly important topic in athlete health, affecting not only performance but also recovery, mental well-being, and long-term health outcomes. So in this session, we will focus on understanding REDS beyond the performance. So this is the outline of today's lecture. And let me begin with a clinical scenario. A 21-year-old elite middle distance runner presenting with progressive fatigue, recurrent tibial fractures, secondary amenorrhea for 8 months, frequent upper respiratory tract infections. Despite increasing training intensity and maintaining a clean diet, her symptoms continue to worsen. So at this point, what would be your differential diagnosis? Could this be overtraining syndrome, depression, an eating disorder, or an endocrine dysfunction? Or is there a unifying underlying condition connecting all of these features? Let's discuss. So traditionally, attention was focused on female athlete triad, the relationship between low energy availability, menstrual dysfunction, and low bone mineral density. While this model was important, researchers soon recognized that inadequate energy availability affects far more than these three components and can occur in both males and females. As a result, the International Olympic Committee, IOC, first introduced the concept of REDS in 2014. The model was later updated in 2018 and further refined in the 2023 IOC consensus statements to reflect expanding scientific evidence and a broader understanding of its clinical impact. The definition describes REDS as a syndrome of impaired physiological and psychological functioning experienced by female and male athletes caused by problematic low energy availability, particularly when it is prolonged and or severe. In simple terms, the athlete's energy intake is insufficient to support both training and demand and normal physiological function. The body then begins to conserve energy by downregulating multiple systems. Importantly, REDS is not simply a nutrition problem or an issue related only to body weight, but it is a multi-system physiological syndrome that can affect hormonal functions, bone health, metabolism, immunity, cardiovascular health, psychological well-being, recovery, and ultimately athletic performance itself. So, at the center of REDS is the concept of energy availability, which is considered the fundamental physiological driver of this syndrome. Energy availability refers to the amount of dietary energy remaining for the body's normal physiological functions after energy cost for exercise has been accounted for. In other words, it is the energy left to support essential bodily processes. The equation of energy availability is energy intake minus exercise energy expenditure divided by fat-free mass, and it is typically expressed as kilocalories per kilogram of fat-free mass per day. So low energy availability or NEA occurs when there is a mismatch between dietary energy intake and exercise energy expenditure, leaving insufficient energy to support the body's physiological needs. LEA may be prolonged or severe and can be impair both bone health and athletic performance. Having established the concept of energy availability, low energy availability, the next step is understanding how LEA and LEA progress into REDS. The important point is that LEA exists on a spectrum. We should understand that not all low energy availability is immediately pathological, and the body initially attempts to adapt and adapt to the energy deficit. As shown in this table, when energy availability is around 45 kilocalories per kg fat-free mass per day, then our physiological functions are functioning optimally. As energy availability falls into 30 to 45 range, the body begins to compensate through adaptive mechanisms. At this stage, athletes may develop subtle or early dysfunction, including reduced metabolic rate, impaired recovery, menstrual disturbances, reduced libido, mood changes, or decline in performance. When energy availability falls below approximately 30 kcal per kg fat-free mass per day, these adaptations become increasingly maladaptive, leading to hormonal and metabolic disruption. This is the stage where persistent LEA falls to clinically significant rate. So, adaptable LEA is usually short-term, intentional and periodized, reversible without lasting physiological harm. Examples include temporary reduction of intake during competition preparation or intensified training loads. But the problematic LEA, in contrast, is a chronic and severe form associated with impaired physiological function, often accompanied by recurrent injury, illness, fatigue, endocrine dysfunction, or impaired performance. So, REDs affect both males and females, as I mentioned earlier. The reported prevalence ranging from 20 to 80% in females and 15 to 70% in males, depending on the sports and assessment criteria used. So athletes at greatest risk of REDs include those participating in high energy expenditure sports, weight sensitive or aesthetic sports, weight category sports, and athletes with prior history of eating disorders or significant body imaging concerns. So LEA can occur through both intentional and unintentional pathways. So in this diagram by Dr. Nikki, the x-axis indicates energy intake with dotted line marks the energy requirement for life processes. So you can see on the left side the intentional restriction. In this scenario, the athlete deliberately reduce energy intake, often with the belief that becoming linear will improve performance, aesthetic, or competitiveness. This is particularly common in weight category sports such as combat sports, aesthetic sports such as gymnastics, endurance sports where low body mass is perceived as advantageous. So this intentional restriction may begin as performed focused dietary control, but in some athletes, it progresses into disordered eating behaviors or clinical eating disorders. These behaviors can include chronic dieting, food avoidance, compulsive exercise, binge purge cycles, or rigid food rules. The key issue is that the athlete may continue training at high loads while progressively reducing the intake, the energy available for essential physiological functions. On the right side is unintentional LEA, which is actually very common and often under-recognized. So here, the athlete is not deliberately restricting intake, but energy intake simply fails to meet the demand of training. Contributing factors include increased training volume or intensity, poor nutrition knowledge, inadequate recovery fueling, busy schedules, or appetite suppression during heavy endurance exercise. This is frequently seen during periods of escalating training load where athletes do not adequately adjust calorie intake to match expenditure. However, the central concept in this figure is that both pathways ultimately produce the same physiological problem, that is insufficient energy remaining for normal life processes after exercise energy expenditure is accounted for. So, low energy availability triggers a coordinated energy conservation response throughout the body. When energy intake is insufficient, the hypothalamus suppresses multiple hormonal pathways to preserve survival, and this leads to reduction in reproductive hormones such as estrogen and testosterone, thyroid hormones that regulate metabolism, and anabolic hormones. As a result, basal metabolic rate decreases, recovery and protein synthesis are impaired, and bone formation declines. At the same time, cortisol level rises, contributing to catabolism and impaired recovery. Cardiovascular adaptations such as reduced heart rate and reduced blood pressure may also occur. Importantly, athlete may continue to perform reasonably well in early stages, which is why LEA and PREDS can remain clinically hidden until more significant dysfunction develops. PREDS has a major performance implications, which are summarized in the PREDS performance conceptual model. The model demonstrates how low energy availability impairs body's ability to adapt, recover, and sustain athletic performance. As physiological function becomes compromised, performance capacity progressively declines. Clinically, athletes may present with recurrent or unexplained injuries, particularly stress injuries, delayed recovery between training sessions, persistent fatigue or reduced endurance, impaired training adaptation and plateaued performance, and increased susceptibility to infections due to immune suppression. Importantly, performance decline is often one of the earliest warning signs of underlying physiological dysfunction. Athletes and coaches may initially notice reduced consistency, inability to tolerate training load, or failure to achieve expected performance gains before more obvious medical complications become apparent. So, while REDs affect performance, its broader significance lies in the widespread health consequences. It is captured in the REDS health conceptual model. So this model highlights that low energy availability disrupts multiple physiological systems simultaneously through endocrine and metabolic suppression. Endocrine dysfunction is central to REDS and may present as hypogonadism, menstrual dysfunction, or amenorrhea in females, and low testosterone levels in males. Skeletal health is particularly vulnerable. Impaired bone formation and increased bone resorption can lead to reduced bone mineral density, stress fractures, osteopenia, and eventually osteoporosis. Cardiovascular adaptation may include bradycardia, hypotension, and impaired endothelial or vascular functions. Hematological effects include iron deficiency and reduced erythropoiesis, which further contribute to fatigue and impaired exercise capacity. Immune function is also compromised, leading to increased frequency of infections and prolonged recovery from illness. Psychological manifestations are increasingly recognized and may include anxiety, depression, irritability, and obsessive training or food-related behaviors. GI symptoms are also common, including delayed gastric emptying, bloating, and constipation. The key messages from REDS health conceptual model is that low energy availability is not an isolated nutritional issue. It is multi-system medical condition with potentially serious short and long-term consequences if not identified and treated. So clinically, REDS often present with a combination of non-specific and subtle physical signs, which can make early recognition challenging. Common symptoms include persistent fatigue, recurrent injuries, delayed recovery, menstrual dysfunction in females, reduced libido in males, mood changes, and plateau or decline in performance despite ongoing training. The physical signs may include bradycardia, low blood pressure, or evidence of stress fractures and impaired bone health. Importantly, low BMI may be absent. Many athletes with REDs appear lean and healthy, which is why clinicians must sustain a high index of suspicion based on the overall clinical picture rather than body weight alone. Performance decline and recurrent injuries are often early warning signs and signs of underlying physiological dysfunction. So, diagnosis of REDs requires a structured clinical approach because there is no single diagnostic test. The IOC REDs Clinical Assessment Tool version 2, that is REDS CAT2, recommends a 3-step process for this. The first step is screening. This involves targeted questionnaires and a detailed clinical interview focusing on dietary intake, training load, menstrual history, injury history, psychological behaviors, and performance changes. The goal is to identify athletes at risk for low energy availability. The second step is severity and risk assessment. Here, clinicians evaluate the degree of physiological impairment and sport participation risk. This includes assessment of medical complications, psychological concerns, and laboratory abnormalities. Then the third step is clinical diagnosis and treatment planning. PREDS is ultimately a clinical diagnosis based on overall pattern of symptoms, signs, history, and investigation findings. Management then requires an individualized multidisciplinary approach. So the management is guided by REDS CAT framework, which stratifies athletes according to the level of risk and helps determine sport participation. Green category, that is no risk, no or very low risk athletes who do not require treatment. So CAT 1 or yellow category who are at the mild risk can continue full training and competition while receiving education, nutrition support, and routine monitoring. In CAT 2 athletes or the orange category are at moderate risk and requires closer follow-up, targeted treatment, and in some cases, modification of training or competition until health markers improve. Then finally, the CAT 3 or red category athletes are considered high or extremely high risk due to significant medical or physiological concerns and are generally restricted from training and competition until they have stabilized. Across all categories, the primary goal is to restore adequate energy availability and address the underlying causes of PREDS through a multidisciplinary approach involving physicians, dietitians, mental health professionals, and rehabilitation specialists. So, PREDS management requires a multidisciplinary athlete-centered approach. At the core is the shared responsibility of all team members to screen, identify, educate, and coordinate the care. The sports physician leads medical assessment, including investigations of hormones and physiological consequences. Physical therapist is managing musculoskeletal injuries and guiding return to sport. Nutrition specialist focuses on restoring adequate energy availability through individualized nutrition strategies. And the psychologist addresses the mental health concerns and eating disorders if present. Successful REDS management depends on early recognition, coordination, coordinated communication, and fostering a sporting culture that prioritizes health rather than body weight or appearance. So the cornerstone of PREDS management is restoring adequate energy availability. This is primarily achieved by increasing caloric intake, ensuring sufficient carbohydrate availability to support training adaptation, optimizing protein intake throughout the day, and maintaining adequate calcium and vitamin D to support bone health. Then the training modification may also be necessary rather than complete rest. The goal is usually to reduce training intensity or volume while maintaining appropriate bone loading activities in controlled amounts. This helps preserve fitness and support recovery. Training loads are then progressively increased through a periodized returning to sports approach. Ongoing monitoring is essential and include tracking symptoms, recovery and injury recurrence, and performance. In female athletes, restoration of normal menstrual function is an important indicator of recovery. So, return to full training and competition should be gradual and guided by improvements in both clinical and performance markers. Prevention of PREDS can be viewed across 3 levels: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary prevention aims to stop REDS from developing. This involves educating athletes, coaches, and support staff about energy availability, promoting appropriate fueling practices, matching nutrition to training demands, and prioritizing health rather than body weight or appearance. The secondary prevention focuses on early identification. Athletes should be regularly screened for warning signs, and early recognition allows timely dietetic and medical intervention before significant pathophysiological consequences occur. Then tertiary prevention addresses athletes with established traits. So management requires a multidisciplinary approach to restore energy availability, treat complications, and support gradual return to training and competition. The key message is that the prevention is most effective when we intervene early with education and screening, helping to reduce the burden of threats and protect both athletes' health and performance. So these are my take-home messages. And if there is one message to remember from today, it is that adequate energy availability is fundamental to both athlete health and performance. By recognizing threats early and prioritizing prevention, we can help athletes stay healthy, resilient, and perform at their best. Thank you very much.